The chuck. The chuck is the massive shoulder area, making up 25% of the animal. These muscles do the heavy lifting, so they're loaded with connective tissue. This is the source of your 80-20 burger blend and the classic pot roast. In 2002, researchers discovered the Denver steak hidden here. It's heavily marbled and incredibly tender if you know exactly where to slice it. Flat iron. The flat iron is anatomically the top blade. It was ignored for decades because a thick, needle-like tendon runs right through the middle. In the UK, it's known as the butler's steak because it was considered high-quality meat that only the help knew how to prepare. If you butterfly it off that tendon, you get a steak that's second only to the tenderloin in softness. The brisket. The brisket is the breast. Since cows don't have collarbones, this muscle supports 60% of their total body weight. It's split into the lean flat and the fatty point. German and Czech immigrants in Texas turned this cheap, tough cut into a BBQ legend in the 1800s because they realized that 12 hours of smoke could turn that massive amount of fat into pure flavor. The rib. The rib primal runs from the 6th to the 12th rib. This is luxury territory, home to the ribeye. The absolute best part is the spinalis dorsi, or the ribeye cap. Many high-end steakhouses actually peel this cap off and sell it as its own premium dish. If you're eating a prime rib, you're just eating the whole rib primal that was roasted before being sliced. Tomahawk. A tomahawk is just a ribeye with at least 5 inches of bone left on. It's named after the Native American axe due to its shape. You're mostly paying for the weight of a bone you can't eat, but it's become the ultimate Instagram steak because of how impressive it looks on a plate. It doesn't change the taste, but it definitely changes the price. Short plate. The short plate is the belly, giving us the skirt steak. This is the diaphragm muscle. In the early 20th century, Mexican ranch workers in Texas used this cheap cut to create fajitas, which literally translates to little belts. It has a massive beefy punch, but because of its long fibers, you must slice it paper thin against the grain, or it will be impossible to chew. Hanger steak. The hanger steak hangs between the rib and the loin. In France, it's the highly prized onglet, the classic bistro steak. In the US, it was long known as the butcher's cut because it's so rich and mineral-heavy that butchers would hide it for themselves rather than try to sell its ugly appearance to customers. Short loin. The short loin is the home of the T-bone and the Porterhouse. The Porterhouse is just a T-bone with a larger tenderloin section, specifically at least 1.25 inches thick. The name comes from 19th century porterhouses, hotels that served dark porter beer alongside these massive steaks. It's the best of both worlds, a lean tenderloin and a fatty strip, tenderloin. Inside the loin sits the filet mignon. This muscle sits against the spine and does almost zero work, which is why the fibers are so fine you can cut them with a fork. The narrow tail of the tenderloin is what usually ends up in your beef stroganoff or carpaccio. It's the most expensive cut, but it lacks the fat content of a ribeye, so it's often wrapped in bacon for flavor. Sirloin and Tri-Tip. The sirloin is the lower back. While the top sirloin is a lean staple, the bottom sirloin gives us the tri-tip. Until the 1950s, tri-tip was always ground into burgers because nobody knew what to do with its triangular shape. That changed when a butcher in Santa Maria, California, roasted it whole and turned it into a regional BBQ phenomenon. Picana. The sirloin cap is called culotte in the US, but the world knows it as picana. The name refers to the picana, a pole used by farmers to herd cattle in Spain and Portugal. That thick fat cap is the soul of the cut. As it melts, it bastes the lean meat underneath. If your butcher trims that fat off, he's ruining the steak. The round is the hindquarters. These are locomotion muscles, so they are incredibly lean and high in protein. This is the primary cut for bresaola, the Italian air-dried beef, because low fat means the meat won't go rancid during the aging process. It's also the standard for deli roast beef and beef jerky. Shank and tail. The shank and oxtail are the kings of slow cooking. When you braise these, the white connective tissue melts into a silky natural gelatin. Oxtail used to come specifically from oxen, but today, It refers to the tail of any cattle. It's the essential base for everything from Jamaican stews to Vietnamese pho and Italian osso buco. From nose to tail, that's the cow. I'll be making similar videos. Subscribe to see them.